I'm John Scott. Thanks for joining us today. The Live Desk with Martha MacCallum starts right now.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha MacCallum. You are at the Live Desk coming from Control Room 4. You will see the news as we see it. Let's take a look at what we're watching right now. On Remote 7, here's a story that we've been following for you this afternoon. In Dawson, Texas, an owner says that a horse escaped their property last night, got stuck in the mud. They had to call police for assistance because they did not have the equipment to help that horse out of the mud. It's been stuck for over 10 hours at this point, and you can see the ongoing efforts to just get a hold of him and try to get him out of there. They're trying to comfort that horse as they work on this effort. We're going to continue to keep an eye on that situation, and we'll get you back there to see how it all works out.
Weather alert. Breaking right now at the Live Desk. The National Weather Service issues tornado warnings. Are you in the line of the storm? Breaking Bahamas news. A new hearing involving Anna Nicole's baby, who may be trying to get custody of the little girl now. Food crisis. Could the same thing that caused all those pets to die happen to our food supply? The life or death investigation. Now, here's Martha.
Incredible scenes from the bombing in Iraq. This is breaking news. This is brand new video of the stunning explosion that happened inside the green zone. David McDougall is live for us in Baghdad. David, what can you tell us about what happened in there?
Martha, well, on the Live Desk, we're watching the video as it unfolds, and here in Baghdad, we're also getting a chance to watch this video just for the first time with John Scott and then again with Hugh. It's very dramatic, and for those of us who know the inside of the convention center, the inside of Iraq's parliament, it's very telling. There is often a line of cameras lined up waiting for people, just as that gentleman was there, to do press interviews when they come out of parliamentary sessions. You can also see some of the columns which are characteristic of this convention center. It was designed by an architect from Finland. It's essentially a large square building with a number of buttresses on the outside and these columns on the inside, in an effort to really keep journalists away from the parliamentarians. They have, in fact, screened off, put down a number of screens alongside the cafeteria, because the whole place is very open plan. Although it's Iraq's parliament now, it was originally designed and built as a convention center during the Saddam Hussein years, and it's very open plan. So you've got to be able to cater for thousands of people who are crowding into conventions, and you can see as that gentleman just ducks down when the explosion happens, you can see it instantly switches to some of the smoke, the columns inside. You can see some of the cameras lined up just there, and some of the partitions to keep the journalists away from the parliamentarians who are coming right out of their session. We understand this explosion happened just about 10 minutes after their session finished in Parliament. They came out to have some lunch, to have some refreshments in the cafeteria, and then the explosion happened. But this video just unfolding really for us as well here in Baghdad for the first time, as you're seeing it also, Martha.
David, what does this tell everybody? You know, we know there's been an ongoing effort to stabilize Baghdad. What does this tell everybody about how that's going? What kind of comment is it on that?
Martha, it tells us that nowhere is safe in Baghdad. If you can get right into the heart of Parliament, right to the heart of democracy, where can be safe in the entire country, in the entire city? There's a lot of checkpoints to go through, a lot of security procedures, a lot of people looking at your ID, a lot of people patting you down and scanning you with those airport-type hand wands that you see at the airport, and then a number of X-ray machines to go through as well. This really tells the Iraqis, the parliamentarians, as well as citizens, if they can strike here, they can strike anywhere. Martha?
All right, David McDougall, thank you very much, reporting live for us from Baghdad. All right, breaking news from California this afternoon. A pregnant teenager kidnapped from her own home. Police say that she was forced through a broken window by her ex-boyfriend. Her family describes the scene of the crime.
When they broke the window, her boyfriend came inside into the house, and then they took her they just took her because she didn't want it. He was cussing and telling my grandpa that if they called the police, they would kill him.
Well, police in California right now are searching for Juan Carlos Martinez in the alleged kidnapping of Esther Nieves. Joining me on the phone is Chris Curtis. He's the Deputy Sheriff and Public Information Officer for the Fresno County Sheriff's Department. Good to have you with us today.
Hi, Martha.
Tell me a little bit, you know, what goes through your mind as a teenager. Is there any reason to think that she left on her own?
No, absolutely not. This was a forcible kidnap. The suspect, 18-year-old Juan Carlos Martinez, and a 15-year-old juvenile who was related to the victim, actually forced their way into the residence first, grabbed Miss Nieves and forced her out a broken window into the yard, and then took her to a waiting vehicle that was parked out front.
Do you have any leads on this? A car, a license plate, anywhere they might have headed?
Well, we know now. We made an arrest on the 15-year-old juvenile last night up in the San Jose area, and he is cooperating with our investigators. So the last known location we have of both Martinez and Nieves is up in the San Jose area.
So where do you go from here?
Well, we're still looking for a vehicle. There's a gray Honda four-door that was driven by an Asian female on the night of the kidnap. Investigators have been going back and forth. Our investigators have been going back and forth between here and the Bay Area. And we're being assisted by numerous law enforcement agencies from the Bay Area. So we have a lot of leads to go after.
What do you think the motivation was here?
We don't know yet. I don't know if the 15-year-old juvenile has shed any light on that, but hopefully we'll get more information when we get Nieves back safe and sound.
All right, Chris Curtis, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you, Martha.
Well, remember the pet food nightmare that we were following for you? It led to pet kidney failure across the U.S., and some say it is not over. A Chinese company has now been identified as the source of contamination for pet food suppliers. U.S. regulators are now investigating whether or not that same error could happen in the human food supply. Molly Henneberg's following this one for us, and she joins us from Washington. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Martha. Senators want more information on how the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, responded to the recent pet food recall. And they'll hear from the director of the Center for Veterinary Medicine at the FDA, as well as others, at a Senate appropriations hearing that will begin in the next hour. The government estimates that 15 or 16 pets have died as a result of contaminated pet food, and thousands more cats and dogs became sick. Pet advocates, though, put the numbers much higher. More than 100 brands of pet food have been taken off shelves after pets started getting sick. It was discovered that wheat gluten used in pet food had become tainted with melamine, a chemical used in plastics manufacturing and not approved, of course, to be used in food in the U.S. for people or pets. The New York Times is reporting today that some U.S. officials are investigating whether a Chinese company that supplied the wheat gluten may have intentionally mixed the melamine with the gluten to increase the protein content in the pet food. That's all still under investigation, though. Senators today also are expected to ask a lot of questions about whether something like this type of contamination, could happen in the human food supply. Martha?
Scary question. Molly, thank you very much. Molly Henneberg in Washington. And on deck here at the live desk, if you can believe it, even more fallout today, folks, from the IMS racial remarks. Coming up, something no one else is talking about, though, what the Duke lacrosse case and the IMS remarks might have in common. We'll explain. And health-wise, we probably have the most unusual field of potential first families ever. Thompson, Giuliani, Biden, Romney, Elizabeth Edwards, John McCain and his wife Cindy have all dealt with some form of serious medical condition. Coming up live, Cindy McCain on how a clean bill of health might be the most important issue this season. Plus, the love defense, they're calling it, why one school principal says she had a legitimate, loving relationship with her 12-year-old student.
He begged me to make love with him just once. And I said that I couldn't do it, that we couldn't do it. And he begged me, and I loved him, and I finally said, okay.
Finger and toe area fungal infections require strong medicine. As a pharmacist, I recommend Fungicure.
Fungicure liquid eliminates fungus around nails with powerful antifungal medicine. Just brush it on. It's clear and dries in a snap. Fungicure, the finger and toe fungi specialist.
Nobody intimidates our clients. Nobody. If you've worked on the books all of your life and now you're disabled and you can't work anymore, don't let anybody intimidate you. Call 1-800-66-BINDER.
There's always something to remind me of another place and time.
Honey, says here your poor leg circulation could be something serious. Something called peripheral artery disease, PAD.
PAD? PAD puts you at more than double the risk of heart attack or stroke. It's a disease that often has no symptoms. New medical guidelines recommend early detection for PAD, and there are simple tests. You see, poor circulation in the legs could mean poor circulation in the heart and brain as well. That's a risk for heart attack or stroke. So get the facts. If you're over 50 with diabetes or risks for heart disease or pain or heaviness in the legs, you may have PAD.
That could be us.
Call 1-800-560-8298 for this free information about PAD, diagnosis and treatment options to reduce the risk of heart attack or stroke.
I'm calling for that information now.
PAD is news to most people. Get the story with this free information kit. Call 1-800-560-8298 or visit padupdate.com.
This shock jock sparked a racial uproar, but is Raph the real radio culprit? Michelle Malkin talks hip-hop hypocrisy. Plus, nurse, nanny, NASCAR driver. How much did these hot jobs earn? And is your career cashing in? Find out on The Factor. The Duke case collapse. Radio removed Imus. It's the hot topics America's buzzing about. Elizabeth Hasselbeck gives us her view on Hannity and Combs. Plus, Daddy's been decided, but is a new custody battle brewing over baby Danny Lynn. On the record.
In video, there you see it, a man who was just being interviewed when this bomb explosion went off in the parliamentary building inside the green zone in Baghdad. Our own David McDougall saying if this can happen in there, you know, just a feeling among the people in that area, of course, that it could happen anywhere. And there's just a look at the columns as the cameras continued to roll and the smoke was rising in there. It was a very frightening situation for everybody in there. And of course, nothing unusual these days in Baghdad. A shocking hit, as we've been telling you, in Baghdad as a homicide bomber got inside that heavily fortified green zone, attacking the parliament building. Reports that 8 people, including 3 lawmakers, including Sunnis and Shiites, were killed in this explosion. Then there was the truck bomb that exploded as well. There was also a major bridge explosion over the Tigris. All those vehicles on it plunged into the river, and at least 10 people were killed there. So continuing violence as we continue to follow that story for you in Baghdad. And also a U.S. military spokesman announcing that Iran is fighting Iraqi fighters and providing money, men, and materiel. Take a look.
We do continue to see the Iranian intelligence services being active here in Iraq in terms of both providing funding and providing weapons and munitions. We also know that training still is being conducted in Iran for insurgent elements from Iraq.
All right, well, my next guest says that Iran has not only provided support to terrorists in Iraq, but get this, he says that U.S. forces have actually engaged in combat with Iranian troops on Iraqi soil. Retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis joins us. He now works as a strategist with the U.S. Army in the Pentagon. Colonel, it's good to have you with us this afternoon. Obviously, given everything we know, this is very shocking information. Where did you get this, and why aren't we hearing more about this?
Well, you know, I don't know why we're not hearing more about it, Martha, but last September on the 7th, along the Iranian border, about 86 miles east of Baghdad, there was a joint U.S.-Iraqi patrol with the 101st Airborne, and they were, first of all, came across a couple of Iranians inside Iraq, and then as they were talking to one of those, they were essentially attacked by an Iranian platoon that appeared to be inside Iraq. Now, the final report investigation has not been declassified, so we don't have all the details. But clearly, this is a very serious activity, and it really reflects some of what we saw the last couple of weeks with the Brits a couple of years ago, and of course, as you indicated in your lead-in, some of the activities with intelligence agents out of Iran working with the militia and infiltrating, in fact, within Iraq and causing all sorts of problems for us.
You know, we continue to see all kinds of pieces of this puzzle. And another story today about bomb equipment that is being built in Iran and believed to be used in extensive use for fighting in Iraq as well. What's next? You know, will we hear at some point that we're in more open combat with Iranian soldiers who have infiltrated into Iraq?
Well, certainly I don't expect Iran to go toe-to-toe with the U.S. That's why they chose the Brits, and the Brits were on their way out anyway. So they will not try to, I don't think, kidnap us like their proxy Hezbollah did last summer with 3 Israelis in northern Israel. But they will try to take hostages of those that are close to us, and types of activities, as we've seen, perhaps even the bombing there in Baghdad. They're trying to undermine the confidence they have in the U.S. and try to separate. After all, they're a hegemon in the entire region. They want the U.S. out of that area. They want Iraq to go in the direction that Iran has in its crosshairs. So there's some very clear motivations here on the parts of the Iran, and we're not involved on a good side of that particular agenda.
And this is exactly what we've been hearing from John McCain has been saying, you know, we can't afford to lose this war because of the strength of Iran in this area and what it will open us up to. What do you think about that when you look at the political side of this equation and the talk of pulling out and setting a date?
Well, there's no question that Iran is a primary funder and supporter of Hezbollah and Hamas in Israel. They are behind the Mahdi army, training thousands that are using explosively formed projectiles, killing American soldiers in Iraq. They're unhelpful, perhaps, even in Afghanistan, depending upon who you talk to. So Iran is doing everything it can to promote its best interest. If we leave prematurely, we're going to be visited not only by people that are going to come out of Iraq, but the Ahmadinejad, the president of Iran, has greater aims than just getting us out of Iraq, and that has an impact on Persian Gulf oil, as well as the entire stability of the Mideast and perhaps even Western Europe.
Interesting. Colonel McGinnis, thank you so much for joining us. Good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, on deck at the live desk, new developments coming out of the Bahamas. The key players gearing up for a return. They're going back to court once again. This time, it has something to do with the custody of Danny Lynn. And we asked the question, who's watching the baby at this point? We're live with that next. And John McCain at the White House today talking about his trip to Iraq. McCain is laying it on the line for victory in Iraq. It could be a risky political gamble. We're going to talk to his campaign and life partner, his wife, Cindy, about that and her own personal health battle, as well as a survivor of stroke, coming up next on the Live Desk.
And right here. Excellent.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thanks.
Mr. Bloom. You're a homeowner.
Thank you.
Don't worry about a thing.
Don't get blindsided by hidden fees. Call DiTech today and get a low fixed-rate home loan. No surprises. Call 1-800-71-FIX today. DiTech, a GMAC company.
If you or a loved one suffers from asbestos-related mesothelioma, then you may be eligible to receive serious compensation for your injuries. Protect your legal rights by consulting the law firm of Whites & Luxembourg. Whites & Luxembourg has won over $1 billion in verdicts and settlements for its clients and will litigate your claim with professionalism and sensitivity. Call Whites & Luxembourg today at 1-888-411-LAWS. That's 1-888-411-LAWS.
Scott saved $254 on his auto insurance when he switched from Allstate. Joseph saved $489 when he switched from State Farm. And Patricia saved well over $400 when she switched from Geico to Unitrin Direct. Switch to Unitrin Direct and you may save $300 or more. In fact, we're so confident we can save you money that if we can't quote you a lower rate than you're paying now, we'll send you $20 just for trying. At Unitrin Direct, our licensed agents will always give you our best possible rate, and you can save even more with multi-card discounts. Paying in advance can save up to 15%, and we offer low rates for good drivers. To find out how much you could save, call now. In the last year alone, thousands of drivers saved up to $300 or more by switching to Unitrin Direct. Now, isn't that worth a phone call? For the right price and the right protection, the right choice is simple. Call Unitrin Direct today. You may just save a bundle.
For your free rate quote, log on to unitrinfreequote.com or call 1-800-249-3395 now.
He lives as one of them. He eats, speaks, and behaves just as they do. He knows their language and is using it to teach them how to be wild. A Man Among Wolves premieres Monday at 9 on Channel 186. The National Geographic Channel. Dare to explore.
The most magical adventure begins like this.
Geronimo! Who invited you on board? What is this place?
From the creators of Shrek, Lost, and Madagascar.
They call me Shocky. Shocky!
Get ready to get down.
Yeah.
Flushed away.
Jump to the rhythm, jump to the rhythm.
And breaking news in Texas. Joining us now on the Tim Cam, Fox News Channel's assignment manager, Tim Gahn. Tim, what's going on there in the mud in Texas?
Martha, watching this really closely. It's REM 7, Channel 47 up in your from KDFW, Fox 4 in Dallas. Now, the location is Dawson, Texas. We've been keeping an eye on this thing for a long time, I'd say about an hour. The horse, on the other hand, has been sitting in that mud for about 8 to 10 hours. So what we have right now is a very exhausted horse. But happy to report, it looks like the cavalry has arrived. This backhoe just got there. And as you can see from the markings on the horse, water level in that puddle is starting to lower a bit. Now, in the past couple minutes, we've seen the horse try to jut out. A lot of concerned people on site there. We're keeping an extremely close eye on it down here, and we'll get right back to you if they make headway. But it looks like they're making some success. Water is starting to trickle out of the hole, and the horse is trying to break free. Martha, back up to you in the control room.
All right, we'll keep pulling for that horse, and we'll keep an eye on it with your help, Tim. Thank you very much. Well, it seems like some of the biggest news about the field of presidential candidates lately has been about health. Potential candidate Fred Thompson just announced that he is in remission from lymphoma. McCain and Giuliani are both, of course, cancer survivors. Joe Biden suffered a near-fatal brain aneurysm. 4 potential first spouses have had serious medical conditions, including Cindy McCain, who joins us today. She joins us to talk about her own life and how serious medical issues might affect the race for the White House. Mrs. McCain, good to have you with us this afternoon.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You know, it does seem like we've heard so much, scary, in some cases, news about politicians and people running for office and their wives as well. You know, what do you think about the news we've heard from Fred Thompson and Elizabeth Edwards? What goes through your mind as someone who's intimately involved in this process?
Well, of course, I say a prayer for all of them and wish them the best on something like this. It's always hard to have any kind of problem such as this, and then to have to endure it publicly is a whole different aspect to it as well. So I keep him in my thoughts each day.
You know, some people who've interviewed your husband and sat down with him say, besides his stance on policies, that he sometimes seems that he, has been through a lot, that his physically shows the signs of everything that he's been through. What do you have to say about that?
I would ask anybody to go take a good look with him and travel with him for a day. His energy level and his stamina it takes the rest of us down, believe me, those of us that travel with him. He's in incredibly good health and also an incredibly energetic person.
Well, we'd like to take you up on that sometime and travel with him on the campaign trail any day. Let's talk a little bit about your personal experiences, because you dealt with a stroke 3 years ago. I'm sure it was a great shock to you. 3 years ago today. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Your good recovery. What do you have to say to other people out there? What warning signs should they be aware of?
Well, in my case, I was not very bright. I had been diagnosed with high blood pressure. I didn't take my medicine. I thought I knew more than the doctor. I was young, thought, you know, I don't need to do this. I'll just go ahead and eat good and go on my merry way, which was a huge mistake. I did have a stroke. I had a bleed. There were no warning signs at all. It just simply happened. I was sitting at lunch, and the next thing I knew, I couldn't talk or walk.
Must have been very scary.
I tell every women's group, particularly that I see, take care of yourself. See your doctor. Listen to your doctor, more importantly, and take time for yourself.
Right. Hey, one political question for you before I let you go. Some people have said that your husband's stance on the Iraq war, that we need to win and that victory there is more important to him than victory on the campaign trail, could be an extremely politically risky move for him. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, having known my husband for as long as I have, his decision and his stand on Iraq is not about politics. It transcends that. It goes beyond it. It's far more important to take care of what's going on there. Our young men and women are at stake here. It's beyond politics. It's not poll-driven. It's not political. To him, it's what he believes in his core, with his core values.
I know you'll be spreading that message with him all across the country, and we thank you for spending some time with us today, Mrs. McCain.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, our talk with Cindy McCain, and now we'll go back to Texas for just a moment. It seems like they are still, haven't gotten really too far. They're trying to get this horse out with a backhoe. The poor thing's been in there for more than 10 hours. A big struggle in the mud for a horse and the people that are trying to help it on REM 7 at KDFW. We'll continue to keep a close eye on that situation. We'll let you know how the horse makes out this afternoon, and we'll get you all the breaking news, of course, as it comes in here to Control Room 4. We will be right back with more at the live desk.
Looking for some guidance? E-Trade makes investing easy with experts to talk to when you need them, plus 6 free sources of independent research. It's easy. It's extraordinary. It's E-Trade.
I got something here that can help build more houses, design more decks, and help more people. Bayer Aspirin helps prevent 1 out of 3 heart attacks for people at appropriate risk. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen. Bayer, expect wonders.
The doctor said to me, Peggy, you don't understand. Pancreatic cancer is inoperable and incurable. And he says, well, Peggy, you've got 2 months to live. It was like he was telling me, go to the store. There was no compassion. And that was heartbreaking. My life was an hourglass. I was home, laying on the couch, just dying. My sister Pam called the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. When I got there, I knew that I was going to be cared for. I met with the doctor after the tests were done and said, how long do I have? And he looked at me and he said, Peggy, we did a lot of tests on you, and I never saw one thing stamped on the bottom of your foot that said you were going to die in 2 months. You have no expiration date. I thought, wow.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is unlike any other cancer hospital, full of hope, committed to your fight. We use every weapon: surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, nutrition, spiritual support, and mind-body medicine. We surround you with a real team, working together, all under one roof.
Each time I went back to the Cancer Treatment Center of America, I responded better. My tumors were shrinking. Came back in September again, and they still couldn't see anything. I said, you're kidding me. We'll see how it goes. We'll keep testing, but we can't see the tumors anymore.
Please call the number on your screen to speak with an oncology information specialist and receive a life-changing information kit and DVD packed with valuable information. Call now and learn about treatment options you may not even know exist.
It's really unbelievable how one doctor can tell me I have 2 months to live, and then I go to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America and they saved my life. Hope is a mainstay. Hope is everything.
Don't give up. Your fight is our fight. Call Cancer Treatment Centers of America today.
This is Tim Gaughan on the Fox News Channel assignment desk with this breaking news alert. We're keeping our eyes here on REM 7 from Fox 4 KDFW, Dallas, Texas. Location here is Dawson, Texas. All started about 10 hours ago where the owner of that horse right there, you can see in the mud, reported that the horse was missing. Later, the horse was found in this pit of water. Right now, rescuers have pulled in with a backhoe, are trying desperately to rescue this horse. As we've been reporting, Lots of rain is keeping the water soaked there in Dallas, Texas, making it all the more difficult for rescuers in northeastern Dallas. Keeping an eye on this, that's a Fox News alert from the assignment desk at the Fox News channel.
Thank you. Sergeant Emery Waters is joining us on the phone. He's at the scene of this rescue. Sergeant, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Tell us what you're doing there. What's the plan to get this horse out?
We have vented under the horse to keep the mud from sucking him any deeper into this mud slough. We have a backhoe digging us a posterior exit so we can egress the horse. We have a veterinarian on the scene. We've sedated the horse, and we're now putting IV fluids in him because he's pretty dehydrated.
Yeah. I can imagine, and I'm glad that you told us that he's been sedated, because that was one of the questions that I had. Obviously, he's had a long struggle in the mud there. Tell me a little bit about, one of the other ways we've seen these kind of rescues happen is some kind of harness, something roped around under the front legs. Was that considered, and if so, why not?
The problem we had out here is this original call went out about 5 or 6 hours ago, and we don't have the equipment here, so we're just now gathering the belts and the straps. We're intending on putting a tarp underneath the horse.
Yes, in fact, we can.
Pressure, lungs, and the heart.
Yeah,
and then we'll lift them out that way.
Tell me a little bit about the. I can see the horse sort of up and around, and you said he was sedated. What's the health condition? What is the veterinarian on the scene saying about his condition? Is he dehydrated? Is he doing okay?
He's dehydrated, but he's got the will, so we'll get him out. But he is up to his shoulders of mud.
And how long at this point has he been there?
The rancher found him at 7:30 this morning, so we're just estimating he went in sometime in the middle of the night.
He seems to be. He seems to be fighting pretty hard. How much of what he's doing is, pulling him back down? I just saw, that he's fighting against having this harness put on, it seems.
Well, we don't want him on his back, that's for sure, so.
Yeah.
I can't see right now for all the spectators.
I can imagine. Now, where are you in the scene that we're watching?
I'm at the front end of the backhoe and looking down. I'm from about 10 feet above. This hole has become about 4 feet deeper than it originally was.
Tell me a little bit about the urgency of this situation. How much deeper does it seem that he could go? I don't know what the ground is like where he is. And what are the concerns about how long, if it takes much longer, the safety of this animal?
I think we're trying to get him turned with his head toward the backhoe.
Yeah.
And if he can egress in that direction, we might be able to get him out. We've got the strapping now. They were putting straps around him when he did that little last attempt. So we've lost our strapping, but we're still trying to get underneath him so we can just hook up to the backhoe and raise him up out of there.
Is there a reason not to fully sedate the horse so that he can't fight against these straps being put on?
That would be a medical question. You'd have to ask the veterinarian. But we're real concerned if you put the horse where he's absolutely totally asleep in his respirations, if he's got any pressure on his chest at all, his respirations slow down too much, they could stop. So we want to sedate him very well, but we don't want him to go to sleep.
I see. All right. Thank you very much. If you could just stand by while we're watching this, I want to bring in Dr. Becky McConaughey, who's an equine veterinarian joining us on the phone. Doctor, tell me a little bit about, this situation and the threat to this horse as it's struggling in the mud there.
Well, since I can't really see what's going on, but I can pretty much picture what they're doing. It sounds like they're doing everything exactly as they should. They need to minimize the struggling that the horse is doing. They don't want to anesthetize the horse fully or he won't be able to breathe like the official stated.
Mm-hmm.
The horse is at risk of inhaling the mud or the fluids that he's laying in, and that can cause serious respiratory distress. And so there are a lot of things that need to be considered, and if they can just keep the horse's nose out of the water and out of the mud, and if they can get the strapping up underneath his his chest area and get him secured to pull him out without causing injury to him. And it's a really difficult situation, and one of the most important things is to keep the people that are pulling the horse out safe too.
Right.
You don't want, that horse weighs 1,000 pounds and he could easily injure a person that's trying to help the horse.
What about, oxygen and fluids, getting those to the horse? I don't see, I know the previous, the sergeant I was talking to said that there was some effort to get fluids into the horse, but dehydration is surely a concern.
Right, and yeah, it's real important as the horse keeps struggling. They're a fight or flight type of animal, and they're going to struggle until they get away. And so as they do that, not only has the horse not been able to eat or drink probably in the last several hours, he's also struggling so much that he's losing a lot of fluid through his skin, sweating a lot, exerting a lot of energy, and so they get dehydrated, and he's also could potentially be going into shock. And so in order to keep his blood circulating to all the tissues it needs to be, they need to be given the IV fluids, and it sounds like they're doing just that. Now, as far as giving him oxygen, as long as he has his nose above water and he's not fully anesthetized, he's probably okay with that.
All right, Dr.
In order to give him oxygen, you actually have to put a tube up his nose and into his trachea to fully, be able to do any good.
All right, Doctor, if you could stand by, we'd appreciate it. We want to go back to the sergeant who's on the scene there as well. Sergeant, what can you tell us in terms of, I don't know if you've been able to get a better view, and if you get up close to the horse, what can you tell us about his condition and what you can see from what's going on?
Well, he pulled his IV out. We got about 300 milliliters of fluids in him, IV. My chief and I were able to get him to drink probably a half a bucket of water about 9 this morning. So the dehydration, I think, is going to stave off for a little while. The problem we have now is he's worked himself onto his side into a position that it's just almost impossible for us to get around. So we're digging around him some more.
How much deeper is there to go? What's your concern about, tell me a little bit about the terrain and the rain and what you're dealing with in terms of the depth of the mud area that he is in.
Well, anybody that's been in this part of East Texas knows we've got black land here, and black land, when you get it this saturated with water, it becomes like quicksand, only it's quick mud. And what it tends to do is if you start sinking in it and you start fighting, you'll sink deeper and deeper, and it'll create a suction under you, and you can't get out. And that's basically what's happened here. In fact, I had to tie a rope to one of the rescuers from going in 4 feet a while ago.
We're just watching the backhoe, which seems to be digging some of the dirt out from around the area. What's he trying to do?
We're trying to create a path that we can direct this horse to move down where he won't get in more than a foot of mud, and he'll have enough strength, that he can carry himself out. This hole right now is starting to look a little bit too deep for my liking, and I'm a ranch boy myself, but we're not going to give up.
Tell me, in other similar situations, I guess, we've seen, as I said to you before, ropes put around the front of the horse and attached to a truck and drag the horse out of that hole. Why is that not a good option for you here?
The problem we have is when you walk off into that, you're into 4 feet of quick mud, and we'll have a rescuer stuck in there just like this horse is right now.
All right, so tell me, what from where you stand, what's the next path? What's the effort that's underway at the moment?
We have the veterinarian directing. We have the straps here. The veterinarian's riding the bucket now. This is a heroic effort, I'm telling you. I think he's going to ride the bucket in to put the belt around the horse.
All right, I know this horse's name is Champ, and you said he's been missing since early this morning or early yesterday morning?
He wasn't missing. The rancher found him in this mud hole at 7:30 this morning.
All right, well, we hope he's a champ, and we're pulling for him. We're going to keep an eye on that situation, and we wish you the best of luck there helping him out today.
Y'all have a good day.
Some breaking news from Maryland coming in now. Tim Gahn joins us once more at the assignment desk. Tim, what have you got?
Breaking news, as you said, out of Maryland. Pictures coming to us from Fox 5 in Washington, D.C. That's WTTG. Now, here's what we're getting. We're getting reports that police are on the scene of where 4 people were reportedly shot in East Baltimore. Just happening within the last half. We have a 10-year-old, a 17-year-old, and 2 others who were shot in the area of the 1700 block of Bradford Street. Now, the victims have been reported to Johns Hopkins Pediatric Hospital. No word on the other 2 victims. Now, right now, we don't know if we're looking for a suspect, if there's any kind of manhunt. Live shots are showing police that are gathered in East Baltimore, and media are starting to show up as we speak. We're making calls to police down there, working with our affiliate, Fox 5, and we'll get you more news as we can get it, Martha. Back to you.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. Let's take another quick look back in Texas and see if there's some movement on the other situation. We've been watching this throughout the hour, really. KDFW sending us these pictures on remote 7 in control room 4. Champ is the name of this horse, and he's putting in a very good fight, but they are really concerned. This is a sort of mud that is very unforgiving in East Texas, as it was being described to us moments ago by the sheriff, and he's very concerned about how they're going to win this fight with this horse. They've been trying just about everything they can think of to get him to safety. I want to bring the doctor, our vet, back in again if I can. Doctor, give me a sense of how long a horse could sustain a situation like this, do you think?
Well, he's probably getting close to maxing out if he's been struggling that long. One thing that the horse will do is we call it tying up, and their muscles will they'll contract and they'll get inflamed, and then they'll have a lot of inflammation, and it's sort of a vicious cycle, and it can actually cause a lot of metabolic problems to where that will then contribute to the rest of the whole scenario. So, if they can keep him quiet and keep his nose above the water, it's hard to say. It just depends on how much he's been struggling. So it's kind of can't really give you a one answer to that question.
And I don't know how old this horse is, but what impact might age have on the ability of this horse to survive?
Well, certainly the better the health of the animal, just like a person, the better they're going to be able to sustain something like that. So, the older the horse, the probably, less chance he's going to have. But also, if he's a horse in good health, and if he for some reason got loose and was able to go out and run around, he probably can handle it. As long as they're giving him the support, the fluids, and keeping his nose out of the water.
It almost looks like at this point, and I'm just guessing from the view that I have here, that maybe they're just letting him rest a little bit. Would that be something that you would advise, to sort of do this in fits and starts? Yeah,
sometimes you just have to give the horse a rest, give the people a rest, and let them regroup and get situated to where they don't, keep making little forward steps and then, 5 steps backwards. So they just need to get that thing secure up underneath them. And it sounds like that mud situation's really tough.
Yeah.
To where they're not really able to get the strap up, where they need to get it to pull him out. And you can't just put it around his back end and pull him out backwards, you got to be able to pull the whole horse out together, or else you're going to, potentially break his leg or something more serious.
All right, Doctor, we're going to keep an eye on this. Stick around if you can. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more on the Live Desk.
Curious about how much your home is worth in today's market? It could be worth more than you think. Go to housevalues.com to find out what your home might sell for in today's market. You'll also learn what other homes like yours have sold for. So visit housevalues.com today. That's housevalues.com.
Close the door. Close the door. Close.
Even when you're not watching, it gets closed. Hefty One Zip closes first time, every time.
If you have diabetes and are on Medicare, you may qualify for a free meter from Liberty Medical. Give them a call.
When I was first diagnosed with diabetes, I called Liberty. And I'm not alone. Liberty's been the choice of over 1 million people. And every month, 20,000 more join the community. It doesn't surprise me, though. No one's more dedicated to helping people manage their diabetes than Liberty. Like Liberty knows that having better control of your blood sugar cuts the risk of complications by almost half. So they do things like send you a free meter, which has made it easier for me to follow my doctor's orders. And because saving money is always important, Liberty makes things easier by working directly with Medicare and handling all of my claim forms for me. There's a reason over 1 million people have chosen Liberty.
They can help you live a better life.
Call today for your free meter. Call 1-800-417-9452.
My cholesterol was out of whack. My bad cholesterol was high, and my good cholesterol was low. But I went online and I got this free Getting It Right kit. I learned that with my health factors, it was even more important that I get my cholesterol where my doctor wants. Now, he has me on Crestor. Crestor, along with diet, can lower the bad cholesterol. It can also raise the good. So is Crestor right for you? Ask your doctor. Mine said Crestor isn't for everyone, like people with liver disease or women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. And simple blood tests will check for liver problems. He also said to tell him about other medicines I'm taking, or if I have muscle pain or weakness, that could be a sign of serious side effects. Is your cholesterol out of whack? Go to gettingitright.com and get your free Getting It Right kit. Crestor helps get your cholesterol right.
If you're without prescription coverage and can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
A lot of breaking stories around the nation today. Let's get you back to Tim Gaughan, who's following the situation in Florida. Tim, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Martha, watching a lot of news story. Now we're keeping our eyes on South Florida. Pictures coming into us courtesy WSVN at 7 News in Miami. Here's what we have. Coast Guard received a call about a capsized boat off the Fowey Rocks, which is south of Key Biscayne. Now it's out in the waters.
When the report came in, we had a report of 2 people on board. So far, crews have located one of those persons who have been picked up by a Good Samaritan. But right now, there's a desperate search for this other person. We did see earlier in the aerials, we had a boat that was turned upside down. We also saw the first victim who was picked up by the Good Samaritan. But right now, we are looking for one other victim. No word on if that's a male or a female, child or adult. We're working with 5 as well as our Miami Bureau in Southeast Florida. As we get more details, we'll bring them to you. That's the latest from the assignment desk, Martha.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. That coming in from WSVN, those pictures as they search for that missing boater. And now back for a moment to Texas, where we've been watching something that has been unfolding. This horse is really in a desperate struggle for its life right now, and you can see some of the people, the ranch hands and everybody out there trying to help this horse. They have roped around 2 separate areas, I guess, of the horse at this moment, kind of blinded by the end of the backhoe, but you can see the horse in the left-hand corner of your screen who is struggling. His name is Champ, and everybody's hoping that he's going to pull through in this situation, but I guess the mud is like a sinkhole almost, and it's been dragging him down, and every time he tries to move his legs to get out, it seems to bring in more of the mud and more of the water surrounding him. So it's a pretty desperate, tough situation for him this afternoon. So we're going to watch that continuing for a moment. Dr. Becky is on the phone with us. She is an equine veterinarian, and she joins us. You know, Doctor, obviously these are the sorts of things that happen. You know, animals getting caught in wells and in holes and in water. You know, when you look at the kind of trauma that it puts on an animal, and we were just saying here, you know, I was talking with our group at the desk, this draws in everybody's attention. Everybody is concerned about the safety of animals, and nobody likes to see an animal go through this.
Right. Yeah. I guess that, you know, since I'm still not able to see the video of the horse, but I can sure picture what's going on. And yeah, 8 to 10 hours is a pretty long time for him to be struggling. And the more he struggles, the less likely he's going to be able to survive this. But hopefully they're going to be able to get him out here pretty quickly. It sounds like they've got a plan in place, and that it should come around here pretty quick.
If they can pull him out and he falls under the care of an equine veterinarian, what would you do to try to revive him, to, you know, get him sort of strong and recover from a situation like this? Well, if he's not suffered serious injuries, just resupplying his fluids is the main thing, and making sure he doesn't have any cuts or, you know, lacerations we call it, or cuts, and make sure his feet, you know, he doesn't have any penetrating wounds in his feet. And usually just let him rest and recover. You know, get him to a dry location, get him hosed off, look for wounds. But initially, you just back off and let him rest, and get him some IV fluids, and let him slowly drink. And water's much more important than feeding him at this point. You know, it's tough for us to imagine, because when you watch this, the people seem to be standing on pretty firm ground. Just a couple of, maybe 6 or 7 feet away, there's a backhoe on the other side. So it really must be a very, you know, almost like a suction in the middle that this horse is stuck in. You just want to kind of get everybody to reach in and grab him out. But no doubt it's not as easy as that, right? Right. Yeah, they need to get that strap up underneath his you know, his chest, and a strap there on his tail will probably be the best thing to do. You don't want to push too hard on his abdomen, because then you could damage his intestines. And I mean, it's really pretty tricky. It looks like, it probably looks like, well, why don't they just go in and pull him out? Right,
but,
sure. All right, Dr. Becky McConaughey, thank you very much.
Thank
we'll
you.
Keep an eye on that
Good
situation.
luck to them.
All right, good luck is right. All right, here's some new video from this horrible situation. This is just coming in. This is the bombing inside the green zone of the parliamentary building in Baghdad, and this we're just getting a look at. Obviously, a very scary scene for folks there, and this is supposed to be the heavily fortified area. As David McDougall was telling us, you have to go through such a series of checks to get inside this heavily fortified area. And we know that we've heard 3 people were killed and many more were wounded in this horrible attack. We saw earlier a man being interviewed, and you could just see him duck as soon as that bomb went off. A very scary and frightening set of moments for those folks in Baghdad. We'll continue to keep a close eye on that. We'll bring you all the pictures as they come in to us. We will be right back with more.
My girlfriend and I were talking about osteoporosis, and she told me she has to set aside time one morning every week to take her osteoporosis pill. I said, I take once monthly Boniva. It fits my routine. And she said, that I can do. Boniva helps build strong, healthy bones to prevent fractures with just 1 pill a month. With all I do for bone health, Boniva fits right in.
Unlike weekly treatments like Fosamax, you only need Boniva once a month.
No wonder 2 out of 3 women preferred the dosing of Boniva over a weekly treatment.
You should not take Boniva if you have low blood calcium, severe kidney disease, or cannot sit or stand for at least 60 minutes. Follow dosing instructions carefully. Stop taking Boniva and tell your doctor if you experience difficult or painful swallowing, chest pain, or severe or continuing heartburn, as these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems.
Ask your doctor if Boniva is right for you. My girlfriend is so glad she did.
Don't wait another week. Ask your doctor for a free trial offer or call 1-800-4-BONIVA.
What can you do with the equity in your home? Pay off bills, make home improvements, send your daughter to college, and more. Chase, America's home lending expert, has a home equity solution designed to fit your needs. And with just one call, Chase makes it easy. Take the Coopers, for example.
With Chase, there are no application fees or closing costs. And best of all, we lowered our rate and ended up saving hundreds of dollars.
Thinking of remodeling? With just one call, we updated our kitchen. At Chase, they let us lock in a balance to a fixed rate. It's all so easy. That's what you'd expect from America's home lending expert. And at Chase, you won't pay any closing costs. For a limited time, when you open a line of credit or loan, you'll also receive a $250 Lowe's gift card. Apply today. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Call now, 1-800-589-1809. Visit chase.com/LowesTV2.
If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes, please listen carefully.
Are you among the tens of thousands of Americans who owe the IRS back taxes? Maybe you're dealing with tax liens, bank levies, or even wage garnishments. The simple fact is most people in your situation simply don't know their options when it comes to settling their tax debt.
We never anticipated this kind of tax debt. We just don't know what to do.
Did you know that new legislation makes it possible for you to settle your IRS tax debt once and for all? You may also qualify for enormous savings. If you're ready to end your tax nightmare, call the number on your screen right now and let Innovative Tax Relief, one of the nation's largest and most experienced tax firms, help you. The experts at Innovative Tax Relief can help you remove liens, levies, or garnishments. And you may even recover lost penalties and interest.
Now our lives are back to normal.
Innovative Tax Relief. Thanks. The call is free, so don't wait. Call right now.
Okay, halfway out is Champ at this moment. We have seen it almost this close earlier, so we're hoping that it doesn't slide back, that the horse doesn't slide back, but it does look like they're making some progress here, and you can just tell by looking at the back of this horse that he is tired. It's been a very, very long haul for him, and you can just see these folks working so hard. This is the kind of, story that happens around America, and every day people trying to rescue animals and horses and everybody, folks who are in distress. So we're getting a close-up look at this one thanks to the helicopter that's provided to us from KDFW and coming in on Remote 7 to us. But obviously they are making some progress here, and now they're trying to get the rope around the back of this horse. And Dr. Becky, you were saying that how important it is that the horse come out all, at once and not be sort of yanked from the front end, I guess.
Right. Yeah, they can break a bone in their neck, which would be probably kill the horse, or make it to where he wouldn't be able to walk. And I'm just like a human that gets a broken neck. You can't have a paraplegic animal. It wouldn't be something that you would want for that horse. So he needs to come all out in one piece and one big uniform pull to get him out, so you don't break a leg or a neck or somewhere on his back. So, and keeping his head out of the water.
The concern at this point is that he will start to struggle again, because that's what we've seen in the past. Would it make any sense to try to calm him down or give him more sedative at this point so that they can haul him out and not risk him struggling back in? What they'll probably do is let him rest a little bit, and somebody will probably get up on his head and make sure if he gets his head up and then he tries to get up and he's not able to stand up, he may flop back into that hole again. So what they'll probably do is drag him as far away from that hole as they possibly can while he's down on the ground before they let him get up again. How much does human communication come into play here? The owner or the person who works with him, if they're there talking to this horse, can they keep him calm? How much do you think a horse would respond in a moment of distress like this to the voice of somebody that he knows?
That's a good question, and it really depends on the horse. And usually at this point, the horse is all about getting away. And I don't think they're going to be real in tune to any voice. Maybe another horse, they might. But right. As far as a human calling him and trying to calm him, probably not a lot, maybe a little.
Yeah, they did actually have another horse out there earlier trying to lure him out when we were watching. Dr. Becky, stand by if you can for a moment. Tim Gaughan has some more information for us. Tim, what are you hearing?
2 points, Martha, and actually just speaking to what your guest had said, we believe that the woman who has been actually on her knees spending the most time in that mud is the horse's owner. Now, I can't really speak to whether or not the voice of that woman would help the horse, but also monitoring the airport chopper pilot from Dallas, KDFW. He's talking about how this horse has been getting jostled back and forth, and the fear always on the ground is whether or not the horse may have already broken a bone. So just putting the point across, this is as delicate an operation as we've ever had.
Yeah, very good points, Tim. And we're watching. You can see the spotlight on the area where the horse is right now, and there's probably 20 people that I can see that are involved in this effort. And Tim was just telling us they believe that the woman who, you can't see her really well right now, but she was right down next to the horse and perhaps is the closest person, human being, to the horse, was also trying to do whatever she can to help out as well. And impossible to know, Dr. Becky, whether or not bones have been broken. The horse does seem to be very stable, not struggling at this point, as we had seen earlier. Any thoughts on why he might be somewhat still at the moment? Do we still have Dr. Becky with us?
Yeah, they probably, if they put a catheter in him, if they were giving him IV fluids, they probably have an IV catheter. And so they probably were able to easily get some more sedation to keep him quiet while they support him with IV fluids some more until they're pretty comfortable that he'll be able to stand up on his own without flopping back into the hole again.
All right, we're just watching the spotlight there. Camera shot pulling away a little bit, but for those of you who might be just joining us and wondering what this spotlight is on your TV screen, there's a backhoe that is trying to help an effort that has been going on for hours to get a horse named Champ out of the mud, and this horse has been struggling for a really long time. We've been talking to Dr. Becky McConnell, who's an equine veterinarian, and just explaining to us really how serious this situation might be for this horse at this point, who has been struggling and is probably completely worn out by now. We also know from a sheriff on the scene that he was sedated to a certain extent, but they don't want to impact his breathing. Let's get KDFW reporter Melissa Cutler on the phone with us for an update from her. Hi, Melissa.
Martha, basically this has been quite a morning here, a real operation. All the ups and downs of an animal rescue drama. They've been working since this morning trying to rescue the horse. As you may know, his name is Champ. And part of the problem out here is this is a rural area, and they've brought in a backhoe. But the problem is They need a certain kind of animal harness, if you will, a strap to go under the horse's belly, and they're trying to lift him vertically up so that the animal doesn't struggle. Because the more the animal struggles, the more he gets himself deeper and deeper into the hole. The mud hole was about 5 feet. Now, police officials are saying it's more like a 7-foot mud hole, because the more the animal struggles, the deeper and deeper he gets in. The problem, again, is trying to get the right equipment. The straps that they're using, they say, could be somewhat dangerous because it could actually injure the internal organs of the animal if this is not done precisely and correctly. So they are trying to do the best that they can, but they have some difficulty here, and especially with the equipment and the types of equipment that they're using.
All right, Melissa Cutler, thank you very much. We'll continue to follow Champ's story and hope that he makes it out of there safe and sound. And we thank all of you for being with us today on the live desk. There is continuing coverage of this and all the breaking news of the day coming up across the rest of the afternoon on Fox News Channel, of course. I'm Martha MacCallum. We will see you back here at the live desk tomorrow. Coming up next is Fox News Live with Jane Skinner.
And hi, everybody. We start with this hour with nothing but news.